What's good, guys? It's your boy Akie checking in here, 24-year-old real estate investor, and I want to really let you guys know what I've been up to the past couple weeks. I haven't been putting out content. This is just because, quite frankly, I've been stressed the hell out with this one deal, and it ended up falling through for one thing or another. And really, what this taught me was something that is in essence going to bring me a lot more money. It brought me a lot more value, and quite frankly, I feel like I'm well on my way to just being way past smaller deals like this. And so what I mean by this is just a couple of things. Is one, having strong terms about the way you do business, to whereas people aren't able to fold up or become non-existent when you actually need them to show up. Two, just having more than one buyer behind you whenever you're trying to get a deal done. And three, just being quite frankly cutthroat when it comes to where things need to be, the logistics behind the whole deal, or deals, should I say, whenever you're trying to make things happen. Because at the end of the day, it may seem very easy to get a seller and get a buyer and hook them up together through a title agency and make deals come through the door like clockwork. But at the same time, if one of these facets, if people's attitudes or just so many different variables out there can go wrong in this business, that if you aren't able to construct the whole transaction in a fashion that is just sliding right into place, if there's too much friction there, not only will you lose deals, not only will you lose credibility, but it's just gonna make a lot of you guys quit. So what happened to me? I got this house under contract for an amazing price, actually 40 cents on the dollar, and the seller was motivated, right? He wanted to sell quickly, right? And I had one buyer who had bought from me previously, and he wanted to get the property. And what happened, getting close to the closing date, was that he wanted to see the property again. And this is what I mean by being cutthroat with your terms. The seller wasn't trying to follow through with the the terms that I had in the contract. The terms in the contract were making sure that I, myself, and my associates, my partners, that were going to close the deal for me, had access to the property. And what he was doing was, not only did he bicker with me back and forth, which is straining on me, but it's also it just created friction between me and the end buyer, me and my partner, who wanted to go ahead and finish off the transaction. We're just trying to do our due diligence. We're trying to just do an inspection on the property, make sure that the property is it's not falling apart. We want to close on this thing. We want to close on this thing cash, and we want to get this thing done. So understandable. The guy wanted to pull a fast one on us. Thank goodness that there was nothing wrong with the property. So we finally got in the property after a whole bunch of texts and back and forthing about it. But we finally got in there, and once this happened, my buyer was really frustrated that with the sequences that led up to us actually getting in there. He ends up not even closing on the day that we're supposed to close. This guy contacts me on the day of closing and says, "Hey man, I can't close this week. Let's close next week." I'm like, we're supposed to close this week, and the title company is thinking that we're going to close this week. The seller thinks we're going to close this week, and nothing happens on the day of the scheduled closing. So I contact the seller, let him know, hey, I'm sorry about this this incident, us not being able to close on this date. And mind you, this guy wanted to close a week earlier before that, but we couldn't do that because the title work was still being done. So fast forward to the week after, the week that, was scheduled for the second closing, I guess you could say. The seller doesn't even, he's MIA. He doesn't even show up. So this deal totally fell apart, and I put this thing together, off of a lead from Craigslist, and ultimately it never happened. So what can you learn about this? In essence, I had one buyer. The buyer didn't come through on the day that I needed him to come through. Now, when you have business partners and you want things to go, perfectly in your business, these buyers out here saying that they want these properties, and they don't follow through. It's very important. It's not their fault. At the end of the day, it's a wholesaler's fault. It's our fault. It's my fault that I didn't have more than one buyer. But it's always important that you have more than one buyer, more than one partner looking at the property. Very important. Two, it's very important that you make sure that you have access to the property, whether that be a lockbox, whether that be getting the keys at the table where you sign the contracts, anything. Make sure that you make it clear that you need access to the property. Just because, you need to do your due diligence. You need to see the property more than once. You need to make sure that this is this is an investment at the end of the day. This is an investment that people are actually going to put their money into, that they're going to, leverage to get a return on. And so if you don't have access to that, let them know that you're willing to walk away, because at the end of the day, there's millions of other houses in your state, and millions of other homes across the nation that they're very lucky that they have somebody willing to make a cash offer on their house, and that if they're not willing to cooperate by your rules, that quite frankly you don't need their business, and they can wait on the next guy, or they can wait on the person that is willing to pay retail, but at the same time is going to have them fix things up, and it's going to be just probably hundreds of days on the market, and tens of 20, 30 people at a time, walking through their houses, and tons of open houses, not even guaranteed to get a contract signed. So just a little quick story about what I've been up to the past month, and let me know how you guys' real estate investing is going. I mean, I'm actually I've bought a couple lists, and I'm really getting ready to go in. I got another property under contract this past month, and I'm looking for buyers for that right now. And I also have another property that I set out a contract on. So this one is looking like a whopper, actually. So it looks like I can either close this one down for either 10 to 20 G's on it. So that's what's going on with me. Hope you guys are doing well, and talk to you guys next one. Peace out.